My name is Tyagarajan, Rajan for short. I'm co-founder and fellow of iSPIRT and run a program called M&A Connect within iSPIRT. Welcome you all once again. The story of India has many chaos elements in it that can be digested, but there is a pattern to it. You know, the startup industry is about figuring that pattern. And today's event is helping you give a cheat sheet to identify what that pattern of figuring out India is about. We already saw that in terms of Capillary and Freshdesk, where those patterns were visible. In fact, the Freshdesk founder Girish Mathrubootham, he calls himself an Aam Aadmi entrepreneur, which means a common man entrepreneur with no fancy degrees. Normally, it's a fancy degree founder that will get funded, right? We saw that example with Anish as well from Capillary, who was an outlier. And I want to introduce two startups who will be exhibiting that pattern. It is Peter Thiel who said it very, very famously, and that's the pattern that we share with Valley, is that the next most valuable company is going to come from the most least expected areas. And Neil Joglekar of BrowserStack is going to walk us through on what that unexpected area is from. He will have about 7 minutes to present, and there is going to be a panel of experts. Ezra Roizen of Advisor and Gaurav Basin of Headwaters and Nitin of Signal Hill will be asking them questions.
All right. How's everyone doing? My name is Neil Joglekar, and I am from BrowserStack. And as you can see, we are building, this is probably not the best place to stand. And as you can see, we're building the testing infrastructure for the internet. Okay, so I'd like to start you with the problem. So let's imagine you're Alibaba.com. How do you build a consistent buying experience for someone in Beijing on a Xiaomi Mi Pad 2 and someone sitting in this audience right here with an iPhone 7? And this problem only gets worse as there are more and more ways to access your content online. Let's go to a specific example. I'd like you to meet Simon from Click Mechanic. It's a UK company that does mobile car repair services. And Simon and his team had a really bad problem. They saw a huge drop in sales for mobile devices. So they were trying to figure out why. So the first thing they did was they rounded up all the phones in their office and tried to access their site that way. But they couldn't figure it out. The second thing they did was they tried to create simulators of all the different mobile devices, and they still couldn't figure it out. Then what he did was he came to BrowserStack, which is your personal cloud of mobile devices and browsers. We instantly give you access to every combination of operating system, device, and browser. So here's what happened. Turns out that on some iOS tablets, they actually had this pop-up that was covering their main call to action. Simon went to BrowserStack, found this problem, debugged and fixed this problem, and it actually led to a 30% increase in conversion. This story actually came in last week, so the timing was pretty good for this. So Simon now loves BrowserStack, and he is definitely not alone. 1.6 million developers from over 35,000 companies across 135 countries, including some of the biggest brands in the world, all use BrowserStack. And every month, well, just last month, they run 33 million tests for 5 million hours across more than 1,000 different devices. And they love us. I really love this first quote because someone confesses publicly their love for a testing tool. And it turns out he also leads the Chrome DevTools team at Google. So what's even more amazing about BrowserStack is all of this growth is purely organic. Not a single dollar has been spent on marketing or sales. The company is bootstrapped, it's profitable, and last year, we were actually voted the best bootstrap company in India by the Economic Times. So right now, we're doing a pretty good job in the browser space, and we're very well on track to being a billion-dollar company in the next 2 or 3 years. But that's not good enough. We want to be a $10 billion company. So with the right combination of products and distribution, we see a pretty good path of getting there. So as you can see, we're well on our way to being the testing infrastructure for the internet. And I just saved you a few minutes, so you're welcome, and thank you. So we have locations in San Francisco, Bombay, and Dublin, Ireland.
And is your current customer primarily the developer, the core app developer, I mean the service developer, or is it more the example there was more of a marketing example? Is that they're also higher up the stack users?
So our primary two personas are the developer and actually the QA, but we also get product managers, marketing, business development, everyone, because at the end of the day, when you're shipping something, everyone across the whole value chain cares that it works.
Neil,
Yeah.
can you give us a sense of your competition? Who do you compete with?
Yeah, definitely. So in the browser space, we're by far the market leader. There are companies, I guess the most notable one here in the Bay Area is Sauce Labs. And then there's also bigger players rendering the space. Amazon's been in this space for a few years. Google and Facebook build internal tools.
And is the sort of core value add the environment, or is it the tools you layer on top of that environment to identify problems and so on? What is it that makes it sort of special, hard to replicate, and really valuable for your customers? Why couldn't someone else just amalgamate a bunch of environments and browsers and throw up the
Sure.
same
So
environment?
there's a couple of pieces to that. Number one is setting up this kind of infrastructure in-house, which a lot of companies do, is a very, very difficult challenge. It's expensive. It's hard to maintain because basically every time you have a new operating system version, if you have a big warehouse of devices, you need someone to manage it to keep it updated and current. And then also, having it access to all of your teams and all of your people easily who are competing for the same device is quite difficult.
Do you have a sense of how big your market is?
So for the web developer market, which is the browser market, we estimate there's somewhere between 20 and 25 million developers. And so the way that our pricing works is that we're a monthly subscription business, very similar to Freshdesk. And so our minimum plan is $40 a month. Yeah, great question. So there's still a lot of room to grow within browsers. Sort of what's up next for us is native mobile applications. As the world moves to mobile, native applications is one example of that. Another example is the mobile browser itself.
So, Neil, you mentioned you're expanding quite a bit. One of the things is you're a company from India, bootstrapped. Obviously customers are finding you, which is great. How are you finding the recruiting environment here? Because oftentimes you find folks want to go to venture-backed companies or companies which have probably a bit more press. You guys are doing a fantastic job. But how are you finding the recruiting challenge here?
Yeah, it's been very interesting. I will say inside the United States, the only people that really know about Browser Stack are our customers, which I find amazing. But we've actually pretty actively not done any press. For the path that we have defined, starting with browser testing, it's sort of if we can completely mop up this entire market before people realize it without actually announcing ourselves, that's fine by us.
That's great. Nice work.
Great. Thank you.
So it is one thing to be hidden somewhere and work on an area which nobody is paying attention to, and then grow really to about $50 million, and then come to the axis of center of innovation, and then look for the rocket ship growth further. But then here is another example of where you're working on a fastest growing market of online retail, where there is completely chaos of red ocean, lot of competitors that are there, but still use India as the advantage and become a fast growing company. I want to invite Pavan Sundar of Unboxed to talk about how he's doing that.
Hi, I'm Pavan, one of the co-founders, and I'm the CEO of Unboxed. At Unboxed, I know it's an unusual name. We dropped a couple more vowels than we thought we should. We basically help online retailers help their visitors with rich, personalized shopping experiences. And our aim is to sort of be the top enabler of that personalized commerce experience across online retail channels. We use big data and machine learning. I know these are buzzwords, but and I'll show you how we actually do that. The reason why we exist, and one of the reasons why we actually started the company is, sometimes when I used to browse, other than Amazon.com, if I'm going to any other shopping site, if I'm looking for a particular product, no site, I mean, I couldn't find one single website that could actually give me the product that I'm looking for, searching for. I had to go back to Google and put the website's name and that product name to actually trust Google to land me on the product that I would want to find, which I realized was such a big problem. And turns out that if you look at what Amazon and all the other 2,000 online retailers do today, if it's the same product, same price, same delivery day, 13 out of 100 people buy on Amazon, just 3 out of those 100 buy on all of these guys. And the problem really is this, how sophisticated the technology gets for all of these online retailers. They just don't match up. And this is the problem we are trying to address, get them to catch up with and compete with Amazon. Here's how we've been able to actually solve some of these problems. If you look at the left side here, this is a site which you search for blue jeans. You know, it's just looking for the word blue, looking for the word jeans, showing up random stuff. And after Unboxed plugged in and somebody goes and searches on the search box, for instance, we're trapping the search interaction there. You see that not only are we showing jeans there of the color blue, but we've picked up at the right time the right set of jeans for that particular visitor on that device. This sort of engagement, this sort of relevance increases conversions by up to 35%. We were able to do that in the first 90 days. And all of this happens with our engine behind, which is plugged in to their website or app. And here's how we do it. You know, the strategy basically is that we've indexed every single product on the internet. If somebody has a product which is called red shoes, we know it's also called crimson, it's also called ruby, and we built out that entire search index. We've classified different products the way we think it should be classified and not just rely on the customer supplier data, which could be misleading. And we track, alongside all of that data, we track 30 real-time signals. We understand that, let's say, for instance, a lady is looking for crimson shoes because she has a crimson dress. Even if the word crimson is not in it, we know that we have to show not only crimson shoes, which are of the type red, but actually know that she's from Boston, the weather there, what's happening there, what device, and in real time able to actually show the products that make more sense for her. And here, this is basically the platform. It can be plugged into any e-commerce site. We give control and visibility to the online retailer to control that, and trapping all of those interactions from the 250 million users that are shopping on the internet. Other than the 500 million products that we've indexed, we are currently serving 200 million interactions every month. We've roughly got 10% of all e-commerce buyers on the internet as personal profiles on our platform today. If we collectively add the number of transactions we power today on our platform, that gives us 2% market share. In the US, Amazon has 22.5% with just these 95 customers. We'll be closer to the 10% mark in the next 12 months. It's a simple business model. Every interaction, we charge a certain dollar for every interaction, and those interactions are also growing. Essentially, for a retailer, it's a 10x ROI for using Unbox. And the key thing is e-commerce is the only global market that is growing in double digit. It's a $1 trillion market. And for all of these guys to actually build this internally, we estimate that it takes nothing less than 24 months or even 36 months and a $30 to $50 million spend to build this, to catch up. One of our customers, and it's something we're pretty proud about, is when we implemented our system on Express, the CEO of Express, it's a $3 billion company, and they're growing 16% year on year. And within the first quarter, we were able to show a 35% increase in revenues. He mentioned us on his quarterly earnings call, called it out, and said that this bump up in revenue, one of the reasons is because we implemented a new search technology. And as a company, we've won awards for, in India, we're one of the most innovative product companies. Gartner has begun recognizing and not only the category, but also the fact that we're one of the leading players there. And we've been consistently doing this across all retail verticals, whether it's furniture with Ashley Home Store, whether it is mass merchants like Bed Bath & Beyond. If you see the the impact that the product has had, increase in conversion and increase in revenues, it's been immediate, highly impactful across electronics, grocery, and in a sense, all of the retail verticals are seeing multiple solutions with one single product. Thank you.
It's a tremendous growth. Well done. And I love the specificity of the presentation. Just very clear as to what value you've added. The thing that comes to mind is if you've accomplished all of this and you're going to be at 2% to 10%, how much growth is there for what you do, and how do you charge, and how big is the available market for the opportunity that you have from here? And how big a business can this be if you're where you are today? How much more growth is there? Because it seems like you've locked up a pretty big percentage of the opportunity. And then secondarily, is there a way to flip your pricing in some way to be more value-based? Because if you're seeing that kind of lift, is there a way to take advantage of that and share in those economics?
Yeah, that's a great question. The way we do it is we begin by trapping just the search interaction, for example. And we've got multiple products rolled in where we start trapping more interactions. That's navigation, where people are just browsing. It could be asymmetric, like with product recommendations. So this sort of increases our footprint within the organization. We see the world as going to a highly automated system where the e-commerce platform basically is sort of a thin client, and we're sort of doing all of running the entire website, seeing what products need to be discovered. So we're already seeing that more than 30% of our clients are buying more and more things from us. Overall, the whole market put together with just this interaction, we see the market size to be anywhere between $8 to $10 billion with just what we are doing. And we're sort of getting roughly 1% of their online revenue as a share for which we are commanding. And more and more products we roll in, we'll basically be able to command more revenue from each of the customers. Core platform, and then expand horizontally with more and more products coming.
Yeah, nice work. Two questions. One of them is, can you give us a sense of how much of your revenue is in the US and the rest of the world? And then you've got a nice list of customers across different verticals. Can you give a sense of how you go to market? What's your sales strategy? How do you get them? Do you do it on a trial basis? How do they come on board?
Sure. Yeah, so right now, if I take a snapshot for December, 95% is the US, our revenues. 5% comes from India. And so the go-to-market strategy is that our marketing and inside sales is based out of India. We sort of have a hybrid approach where our marketing engine essentially delivers qualified leads for the inside sales to work. They set up all of these meetings. We have a very strong hit rate with just the 2 reps who are working here in the US. They walk into a meeting, we showcase the product, and we're able to convert customers, all of these customers with just 2 or 3 months of sales cycle. And that's the model that we are using, and we see that as very, very scalable.
We only have 14 seconds. Quick question. How long does it take to implement this technology? So how quickly can you onboard a customer?
30 to 45 days.
Well done.
All right, thank you.